In this video, I'm going to have a little look at if-else statements in Python. If-else essentially lets us make decisions when we're programming different things. Essentially, you can reach any outcome by making a true or false decision, and that's what if-else statements help us to do. So let's pretend we're writing a program that helped us check if we passed, or help someone check if they passed an exam. So the first thing I might do is ask them to put in. So let's say we want the user to put in their exam score out of 100, and then we want to check to see if they scored more than 50 to pass. Okay. Now what I've done here is I've used little hashes at the front and I've typed and I'm using comments here to actually help plan my code. So based on my little plan here, I want to ask the user to put in a score out of 100. Now a score is a number. So I'm going to give it a sensible name like user score equals. Now I want them to be able to put in a number. Because it's an exam, I'm going to allow half marks. So I'm going to say they need to give it a float value and use our input and then ask them to put in, please enter your score out of 100. Okay, so it's going to ask them for their score out of 100. I close my brackets. So let's see what this is doing so far. If I run it, please enter your scores out of 100. I say 55. Yep, cool, it's accepting that. Now this is where it's going to get a little bit smarter. So I'm going to use an if statement to check and see a particular, or to check to see if this is what they've been able to do. So our if statement has a specific syntax. So I say if. Now I need to write what I'm querying. What is the question I'm going to ask? So in this instance, I'm saying user score is greater than or equal to 50, because that's my pass mark. So if the user score is greater than or equal to 50, okay, then I'm finished with my query, so to speak. So I'm going to put a little colon there. You notice when I press enter, it indents my cursor. That's because it is now saying, hey, everything under this if statement is going to start or needs to be tabbed in one. So I know that it belongs to that particular if statement. So I'm going to do 2 lines here to illustrate that point. I'll say print, congratulations, you passed. I'll start another line, and I'm going to use their score to do something. So I'm going to say you scored, and then comma, user score marks. So if user score is greater than or equal to 50, tell them they passed. But what happens if they don't pass? Okay, that's where the else comes in. If they did it, cool, do that. So the next keyword I'm using is else. Again, little colon there to say, okay, I'm going to start my else statement. Again, it indents it so it belongs under that block. Print, sorry, you failed. Put a little frowny emoji. And I'm also going to do a little bit of math here. I'm going to say you needed. Now let's do a little bit of math on this. I'm going to say 50 minus whatever their score was should give us how many marks they needed to actually pass. Marks to, or more marks to pass. So I'll close that off. So I take a score from the user, and with that score they give me, I say if it is greater than or equal to 50, congratulations, you passed. Print you scored, user score, and marks. So you scored whatever marks you scored, marks. Else, you failed the test, you needed however many more marks to pass. Let's run it and test both cases. So I'm going to say I got 60. Congratulations, you passed with a score of 60 marks. Fantastic. Let's run it again. Let's say I only got 25.5 marks. Sorry, you failed. You needed 24.5 more marks to pass. And that's your basic syntax and use of if-else statements. One thing to note is we have a few different operators that we can use here, or a few different ways to check. So let's use a couple of other scenarios here. I'm going to say if the user score equals 100. So I'm saying if it is exactly 100, okay, I'm also going to print you aced it because I got 100% mark. So equal means it's exactly 100, okay. If I wanted to check that it didn't equal a particular score, I could say if user score does not equal, say, 100, okay, you could do something here. If I, again, just wanted to check if it was just less than, if user score is less than, say, 50, that won't include 50, or the other option is, say, just greater than as well. So there's a number of things you can pretty much check. You can say greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, greater than, less than, exactly equal to, or not equal to. So it's really flexible in what you can actually check with just your if and else branching into two different decisions. That's your if and else statements.